An early morning political dust-up.
Maybe you should table your book because, of course, you've argued for these changes also. So these have been
grow up, Amanda. That's not true. And the reality, that's simply not true.
Well, you're telling me to grow up.
Small businesses all around the country are screaming for help. And your answer to this, Amanda needs to get a breathalyser. I mean, this is just we need a reality check on what's happened.
The government's planned tax changes have come under renewed scrutiny.
Oh, that's the end of small companies. Like, effectively, all the money will go to Rio, BHP, the big banks, the top 10 companies. That's where all the money will go. And anyone below that, like in terms of the cost of capital, go through the roof.
The second and final day of Senate hearings has pitted advocates for higher taxes on assets, led by welfare organisations, against business groups and big investors, including Jeff Wilson, who manages $6 billion. Beneath it all burned the age-old political battle between workers and capitalists, and who should bear the greatest tax burden.
That's how markets operate. You know, if you take more risk, then you get more reward. And if my risk is, if I have less risk, then it's less reward. So I think there should be a differential between the two.
Working's a pretty risky thing to do, isn't it? Like, some people die when they go to work.
Well, but whether I go to work for a salary or go to work and taking my risk capital, and unfortunately, like, the saddest thing is a friend of a friend committed suicide last week, had his own business, went under.
Despite the fireworks, there are few signs this week's hearings will deter the government from pressing ahead with its reforms, leaving it exposed to charges of political overreach.
I see it on the floor of Parliament constantly with the Labor Party and the Greens combined together, and it disgusts me.
Now they're the Senate committee system. No wonder people want to smash the system up.
I mean, it's pathetic. It's ridiculous. The idea that you can actually hear out what people have to say in 2 days, only this government could think that makes sense, because they're trying to shut down discussion and debate rather than open it up.
Treasurer Jim Chalmers shrugged off the criticism.
I think people who oppose the sorts of changes that we are putting forward will always, argue that there should be more time, but that's because in lots of instances they don't agree with the policy direction itself.
The Prime Minister also defended the reforms, insisting they are all about helping first home buyers.
We are very determined to give people the reform that is needed. What we've done is have a comprehensive plan. We know that more was needed. And that is why our reform is aimed at boosting supply as well as giving young people a fair crack at getting into their first home.
The political clash is set to intensify over the coming parliamentary fortnight, when the government aims to push through its tax changes. In the meantime, a reprieve for households after the Reserve Bank left the cash rate unchanged after 3 increases this year. A decision helped by news of a potential Persian Gulf peace deal.
It's good news, and if it comes to pass, and over the next few months we start to see oil prices settle down and we start to see supply chains and other commodities start to work properly again, then that will help, I think, to ensure that inflation doesn't get supercharged.
Some economists are predicting further rate increases this year, and the Governor made clear she's still worried about the pace of inflation.
I want to be very clear that inflation remains too high. Leaving rates on hold today will allow the board to assess how these previous increases are flowing through the economy.
She also defended this month's Fair Work Commission decision to award nearly 3 million employees a 4.75% wage rise.
The outcome was higher than we had forecast and had factored into our forecast. But let me be very clear here. This is the wage rises for the people at the very lowest incomes. This is the people who are the most vulnerable and the most affected by inflation. Even that wage rise probably doesn't get them. They still don't get a real wage rise over a period of years. So it's challenging.
By contrast, the Governor sidestepped questions about whether any extension of the wartime fuel excise discount would add to inflation.
It's not going to make, I don't think, a lot of difference to us in terms of us thinking about inflation and determining what's going to be done for inflation.
Which might end up becoming a green light for the government, as it considers whether to continue Bowser relief beyond the end of the month. The Treasurer reiterated that it was always going to be temporary.
We're very pleased with developments in the Middle East, but we're realistic about how long it will take for the global economy to normalise and what that means for us.